So far, I haven't really seen in any of the articles like an explanation of exactly what the government's paying them to do with this sort of stuff. So I'm pretty confused as well. But I'm also, what percentage of Politico's actual annual revenue is actually coming from government sources? Do we know what like their annual revenue is? Because
we
the
don't.
8 million's like,
but how about
over
this?
Like 10? Isn't that like 8 or 10 years or something?
It's like 9 years. The 8 million's over 9 years. So they're getting just shy of $1 million a year from the government, from government subscriptions, which it's still, I mean, it's impactful. And in their lifetime, I think someone posted that they got like 34 million in their lifetime. So, hey man, I'd love to get $1 million a year from exorbitant government subscriptions. How about we launch Timcast Trump Pro, where it's $5,000 per subscription, and Trump and his team, they can all buy it from us.
They would call it money laundering immediately.
Oh, of course. Well, take a look at this. Now, I want to stress, this is not USAID funding media outlets, except this one is. From the BBC, our statement on USAID funding, the BBC says, they say, like many international development organizations, BBC Media Action has been affected by the temporary pause in U.S. government funding, which amounts to about 8% of our income in 2023 to 24. We're doing everything we can to minimize the impact on our partners. Heavens me. The BBC is literally funded by the U.S. government to a certain degree.
All of this stuff is a complete waste of taxpayer dollars. There's no legitimate reason for USAID to do the vast majority of the things that I've heard about. So now maybe there are other programs that USAID has that are legitimate, that actually do benefit the United States when it comes to foreign policy. But all of the stuff that I've heard being discovered by Doge or whatever, it's all garbage. It's all slush fund. A lot of it, a significant portion of it, is money being used for one political agenda. That's the American taxpayers' money being used to promote one political agenda against, that a lot of Americans are in complete opposition to. So that right there alone is enough reason for me to say, cut them as deeply as we can, make as many significant cuts as possible. And people that are screaming and crying against this, they're all from one side. You don't hear, I haven't heard any Republicans or conservatives making significant protest about this, but the left, they're literally out in the streets, out in front of Congress, out in front of, it was out in front of Congress the other day, screaming at the top of their lungs, threatening to, use lawfare, threatening to shut the Senate down, all because these are the projects that the left likes because they promote the left's ideology.
And to keep it, because it's not just left and right, and Mike Benz made this observation. He's been doing a lot of research on USAID. If Bernie Sanders had won in 2016, USAID would be funding anti-Bernie Sanders stuff. They're anti-populist because the populism is a threat to the control of the empire.
I disagree because Bernie Sanders has been...
But they were anti-Bernie Sanders the whole time. Bernie Sanders at the time was getting attacked relentlessly by the establishment press, and the DNC colluded to shut him out. So yes, however, Bernie Sanders, he figured out who butters his bread. And, he likes his vacation houses, and he likes being the largest recipient of big pharma dollars. And so he got in line.
Yeah, I disagree that they would actually have gone after Bernie. Bernie is one of the biggest cowards in the Senate, and he would have laid down he did.
He did. That's
He's basically an establishment Democrat now. He changed his position on immigration. He said it's like a good thing that the CIA was going into Brazil to help, against the whole Bolsonaro thing.
That might be because of his political leanings, though. If you're helping a socialist is going to think, well, maybe this is okay.
Well, they decried CIA going into Central and South America for the longest time, and now it's like, oh, it's no problem.
But the left doesn't.
For our guy.
The left, exactly. The left's always going to be much softer on it if it's for their guy or for people that have their political ideology.
As far as the government funding for these different news organizations goes, I think the most forgiving explanation is that these are essentially a subsidy to different news organizations because the business of news is actually extremely difficult, and it's extremely difficult to maintain a successful news business, and people turn over and get out of the business a lot, and it's within the government's interest to have a vibrant media space, and then I'm sure they benefit from good coverage back and forth from the people kind of lining their pockets. But they could argue that we have an interest in a vibrant media covering what's going on in our country in an effective manner.
Oh,
and
well,
to allow them to exist.
when do we get the cut? I mean, we have a top global podcast. It's a prominent live show. Perhaps they could fund us, but they don't.
Would you accept money? I don't even think you would.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.